Have you ever seen white women wearing braids, kids dressed as Indians for Halloween? That's cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is stealing. If there isn't a sense of pride behind the action, it should be denounced. According to Susan Scafferty, author of the book Who Owns Culture, Appropriation and Authenticity in American Law, there isn't a problem with suburban youth producing rap music, fashion designers exploring the world's closet to find their own inspiration. There just needs to be a line between creativity and credibility. And once that line is established, appropriation transforms to appreciation. Cultural appreciation is when someone seeks to understand and learn about another culture in an effort to broaden their perspective and connect with others cross-culturally. People should be aware of cultural appropriation because being careless with culture can be destructive towards anyone, and it can shatter anyone's trust. Culture is messy, unique, creative, and deep, but it's also shareable. This controversy explains from the leaders of our society to the babies of this generation. Along with many others, I look at cultural appropriation as plagiarism, copying the work and giving no credit to the source of creation. Say you stole from me. My hobbies, ideas, clothes. You look at me, decide to get the same hairstyle as me. You reestablish my vernacular and slang, then say it was your own style, you created it, without expressing your gratitude of inspiration from me. More examples, the Bantu knot. They originated in South Africa by the Zulu people, yet an American named Marc Jacobs renamed them mini buns. Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner wore corn/cane rows and renamed them boxer braids. Both cultural appropriation. As expressed in the film, it's understandable to take interest in whatever for whatever. We're humans, it's in our nature to show compassion. But the culture of other people is not eccentric, cool, or a costume. Culture is someone's way of life. It's their heritage. Halloween is not a day to co-opt another culture because Halloween was originally made to ward off ghosts. The culture of Chinese Americans is not exotic, not a costume, not appealing. Beauty comes with freedom of expression, which can be liberating and empowering, but not found in another person's culture. Materials used in other cultures are not supposed to be seen as fashionable amongst many. It's just supposed to be a personal meaning or just based on their religious beliefs. For example, headdresses. They promote stereotyping of the native cultures. It's not fashionable. Now that I have told you what cultural appropriation is and gave you examples, I will now discuss the opposite of cultural appropriation, appreciation. To reiterate, cultural appreciation is when someone seeks to understand and learn about another culture in an effort to broaden their perspective and connect with others cross-culturally. In a peer-reviewed article by Karen Howard, Equity in Music Education, Cultural Appropriation versus Cultural Appreciation, Understanding the Difference, it is discussed how people can misinterpret the distinction between appropriation and appreciation. Appreciating a culture is considering the meaning behind any traditions, being able to represent the importance and illustrate any details of said culture. Examples, wearing the hijab, wearing braids. Don't transform the name. Don't forget about the meaning. Build your own statement with these fashion designs, but don't appropriate them. Don't misguide others with a false distinction. Appreciating a culture is embracing your fascinations and prohibiting anyone to elaborate credibility to a false source of one's culture. Wear the hoop earrings in admiration. Make your sushi because it's your favorite food and you love it. Don't rename it because it's too complex to learn the original name. That is cultural appropriation. Lastly, appreciating a culture is acting in acknowledgement, not mockery or intimidation. Do not dress up as someone from another culture for Halloween or any costume event. Don't get braids, long nails, or grill, then start talking with the ghetto considered accent because that is disrespectful, that's mockery, and that is not acting in admiration. It's cultural appropriation. Now that I have discussed what cultural appreciation is and how to appreciate one's culture, I will finally help you explore and take part in culture without exploiting it for your own use. In order to explore and venture different cultures on your own, you need to do your own research. We have the internet, textbooks, novels, documentaries, etc. There are many sources everywhere. Sit down, take your time, watch, learn about culture. In an article published May 20th, 2017 on the Affinity website, which I accessed on April 1st, 2020, Sign says to engage with culture. Don't steal it. Listen to those people offended. Take their stories into consideration. One of the best ways to understand and appreciate culture is by listening to those a part of it. Try listening to the stories and try to understand connections behind the features of their cultures and use that to broaden your own knowledge. Lastly, there needs to be an understanding that cultural appropriation is not displaying diversity. It is not promoting diversity. It is not showing interest in diversity. It is being disrespectful, and it is not considered unique. Don't think that because people wear Native American costumes for Halloween that they are promoting that all people are equal, or participating in blackface is not communicating diversity towards anyone. It's hurtful and antagonizing. Now that I have discussed ways people can explore culture without exploiting it, I will provide you with examples on what you could do what would happen if you do decide to participate in cultural appropriation. When deciding this, you must take into consideration the feelings of the members of said culture. You must realize that it erases the stories and narratives of people who identify with said culture. As stated in the video, my culture is not a costume produced by Teen Vogue. Some feel as if it is offensive, childish, and a butchering to the actual significance. When evaluating the effects of your actions, realize that you can lose relationships, your credibility, and the trust of others. Now that I have provided you with examples on what would happen if you do decide to appropriate other cultures, I will provide you with reasons on why it is offensive. The appropriation of one's culture is disrespectful and offensive. Many people find it as being mocked, taunted, or frowned upon. Not everyone or really anyone finds it amusing to be mocked or taken as a joke. If you have knowledge about the origin or anything from another culture and you know someone's appropriating it, teach them, advise them on how to avoid such a valid situation. Given the definitions, examples, and opinions about cultural appropriation, there should now be an understanding on why people get as mad as they do. I hope that I have illustrated clearly why appropriating another culture is wrong and disrespectful. It does not just come down to Halloween costumes or certain hairstyles. Cultural appropriation is everywhere. Appearance, food, music, film productions, etc. Again, there needs to be a line between creativity and credibility. Don't commit plagiarism. Give credit to where credit is due. Don't take advantage of the essentials.